We met each other in Monterey.
A long, long time ago.
Yeah. I think they still had sailing ships.
That's right.
Um,
That was before the steam engine.
Before the steam engine, yes.
And boy, do we look it.
We are getting up there in age, I tell you. But yeah, life is good. First book I bought of yours. All right.
Nicely done.
Yes, and this is still my PL SQL go-to reference. It's the first edition.
The first edition. Nothing's changed since 1994. I love it.
Or the other, how many? We're now in the 6th edition?
6th edition, yes.
Okay. I guess I should upgrade.
Yeah.
And, I will sell you this piece of memorabilia for the small price of.
So you upgrade your book, and then let's do the interview after you can show the new edition. No, in fact, sorry. Here, hold on a second. So that's what the new edition looks like.
Awesome.
6th edition, different font, same color. What a world. Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to have to upgrade my book. See, I usually just wind up going and reading your blog when I'm trying to figure something out.
Perfectly fine. You don't have to buy my latest edition. It's okay.
Well, no. I dog ear it. I write notes in it, and it's hard.
Then you should get the new edition.
And it's really hard to write notes on your blog because it just messes up my screen.
Sure. You tried that with the Sharpie, and you got to get a new screen. I get it.
Yeah. Oh God, we go back to Monterey. We go back a long ways, and now you are the developer advocate for Oracle, and you're really considered the top PL SQL person in the world.
So a couple of corrections there. So I lead a team of developer advocates. I am a developer advocate for PL SQL myself, but primarily I'm creating opportunities for the next generation of Oracle experts to help the community. So I have 4 people working for me, Connor McDonald and Chris Saxon, who run Ask Tom these days, Dan McGann, who's a really strong Apex developer plus JavaScript, and Blaine Carter, who focuses on open source solutions using Oracle database technology.
Okay.
So that's the first correction. Second correction is, I guess I'm considered one of the world's leading experts on PL SQL. I've got to say that I think there are literally thousands of people in this world who know PL SQL as well as I do. PL SQL, for anybody listening who hasn't already learned about PL SQL, is a really easy language to learn. It doesn't have a lot of toggles and switches and complexities, which is why I was able to get my head around it and write a bunch of books about it. So I thoroughly know the language. Certainly I've used it and worked with it probably for longer and more intensely than a lot of other people. But we can find many, many people who are more expert with using PL SQL in the real world. Okay.
All right. That's going to be my challenge. Find someone
use PL SQL.
To use it better than you. And I will still go to your blog trying to figure out how to do things.
Sure.
What got you interested in IT? Where'd you go to school?
So I went to school in the University of Rochester in upstate New York, and I started in 1976. And I came in as a person really excited about mathematics, and I basically started taking I think a minimum of 3 math classes a semester, and accelerated through 200, 300 level pretty quickly. And then after my second year, I discovered poetry, philosophy, and politics. And mathematics just disappeared from my life. So for the next 2 years, I did this big shift. And then I think it was before the last semester at the University of Rochester, I got a call from the the admin for the math department saying, Steven, if you still want to get a degree in mathematics, if that's still your major, you have to take 1 more class. And it's like, no! I had to take a 400 level math class. Of course, I couldn't take some low level class. I'd done them already. After 2 years of doing no math, it was pretty funny. But at that point, with people who are already deep into the departments and the curriculum, you really have to go out of your way to fail. So they still passed me out, and I still got I ended up with a degree in mathematics with high distinction.
Okay.
Well, that tells me something about the value of these pieces of parchment. So I basically, came in with a strong interest in math and still, have that interest. moved more to, I guess you'd call a liberal arts sort of education.
Mm-hmm.
But along the way, I think in my third year, I just fell into a programming job. So a friend of mine had gotten a job at a research project on campus and said, this is a lot of fun. Want to check it out? And I just sort of fell into programming. In my college career, I took a total of 3, in fact, in my entire education, since I never went past a bachelor's degree, I've taken a total of 3 computer classes, all of them 101,
Okay.
Lisp, Algol, and Pascal, I think. That's the extent of my formal training in computer science.
Wow.
Yeah, and it shows. It shows a lot of the time, actually. So I took those classes, fell into programming. It was Fortran on a PDP-11.
Okay.
Had very early users of the VAX microcomputers, and loved it. Fantastic, fun stuff. You get paid to solve puzzles and write poetry in the form of code. And actually, for my first class, and only one class in college, I did use punch cards. That was an experience, but quickly moved on from that. So I just kind of fell into programming. And then when I graduated in 1980, I stayed on and converted into a full-time developer for this project. It was called Paddle.
Okay.
What does it stand? PADL. It was basically a CAD/CAM system. Yeah, and so I did that for another year, and then I moved to Chicago. And I decided I guess I should get a real job, and ended up at First National Bank of Chicago doing Fortran programming.
Okay.
So that's how I got my start. Totally not intentional. In fact, my entire career has been nothing but, should I do that? Should I do this? Or whatever falls in my lap, that's what I'll do.
Right. Right.
Worked out pretty well for me, but I do not encourage anyone else to use it as a career plan.
Yeah, everybody needs to fall into their own life.
Sure, what works for them.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't expect people to, follow in my footsteps. Like I get up at 3:15 every morning.
Crazy, man.
I know, but it's
And you
fun.
go to bed at what, 1?
I go to bed between 9 and 10.
That's not too bad. You get 5+ hours.
Yeah, and towards the end of the week, Friday night when everyone's staying out late and partying, that's when I've burned up a lot of my energy. And, you could expect to see me in bed at 7:30.
Wow. Well, I am also an early to bed person. I guess I used to stay up late doing computer stuff in the old days. Working on my first edition of my book, I did that for sure. But now, yes, I go to bed early. I wake up not as early as you, and I don't set an alarm, and I like that much better. For one thing, we're not nocturnal animals, and the more humans stay up at night, the more we use energy, the more we keep lights on, which affects the rest of the world detrimentally. So we really should go to bed when it's dark and wake up when it's light.
There you go.
That's what our bodies were evolved to do.
I agree. So in your work as a developer advocate, as leading this team for Oracle, as a great all-American author, what are your biggest rewards and your biggest challenges?
Well, the biggest rewards are definitely helping our users. The whole point of what we do is to help people leverage more and more of what the database offers. And as I'm sure you've run into in your career, many of us learn on a certain version of a database or a language, and then no matter how much the language or database progresses, you're kind of stuck mentally in that mindset of Oracle 7, Oracle 9, whatever.
Right.
And so we come out with lots of new features, but a lot of people don't really find the time to learn about them, find the time to get comfortable with them, and start to internalize and use them. So really a lot of what we do is remind people that, hey, back in Oracle 8, these features were added. You really should use them.
Yes.
It's a little bit embarrassing and silly sometimes to have to remind people about features that have been there for 15 years. But anyway, that's the way it is. And that's understandable. Everybody's, just trying to get the job done and make things work, and whatever it takes. They're not going to go past that and go exploring for the heck of it. So a big part of our job and the satisfaction is simply making sure that our users who have invested, their companies have invested serious amounts of resources into this technology, they get the most out of it.
Right.
In terms of challenges, I don't think it's any big surprise to say that Oracle database has been hitting challenges in recent years. Not surprisingly, what has happened in the database world is that database technology that years ago was really only possible to be provided by a major software vendor like Oracle
Right.
and Ingress and Informix and all the vendors that were out there, and have since most of them disappeared. Open source solutions have caught up. So if you look at PostgreSQL now, it's certainly as good as Oracle was 10 years ago.
Right.
10 years ago, Oracle Database was supporting some of the biggest, most complex applications in the world. So you have this natural progression where open source or much less expensive options give you a lot of what Oracle has given you for a long time. So the challenge for us is making people understand all the additional benefits you get out of the very solid architecture, the solid foundation, and the great features of Oracle Database, making it worth the investment.
Right. Right. And I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm actually starting to delve more and more into the cloud.
Really?
And
what a surprise.
And autonomous, yes.
Autonomous database, great, yes.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, Oracle's offering free certification on cloud online right now, because everybody's home.
Everybody's home, and we want to make it easy for them to take advantage of what we've got to offer. Yes, I mean, clearly one of the big changes in the Oracle world and Oracle database space in the last couple of years is our commitment to providing our technology for free to people.
Right.
And you can get Oracle database, our latest Oracle Autonomous Database, just upgraded to 19C, by the way, for absolutely free forever.
Yes.
On our always free tier. And this is something that obviously has never happened before. It's not only as a result of the pressures I just talked about, but also this is the new world we live in. People expect to be able to try stuff out. They expect to be able to use a certain amount of the functionality for free. And what's really something is that you get a lot of functionality for free from Oracle Database.
Oh, yes.
And,
yes.
The only real constraints are the amount of data you can put into the database, and 20 gigabyte, if you turn on compression, is an enormous amount of data. So it's a tremendous opportunity, I think, not only for people to get to know Oracle Database, but for NGOs, for nonprofits, to be able to take advantage of this tier and combine that with Oracle Application Express. I think that our community could be, and we've been encouraging people to do this, I think that every Apex developer out there should look around in their community and say, hey, what groups do I support? What groups do I work with? Still using an Excel spreadsheet? You still where you're on paper and pen? Let's get you up to speed in the modern world, all free, forever,
yes. Yeah.
from Oracle. So I just love it. It's a great new world for Oracle to be in, and I think that it'll start to change people's perceptions of Oracle and make them understand that we really do care about our customers, and we want to make sure you're successful. Even if you don't give us money, we want you to be successful.
Yeah, because if everybody succeeds, the money's going to flow somehow, somewhere.
That's right. That's right.
So now, if you were to be talking to a university student right now who's in poetry, philosophy, and politics.
The 3 Ps.
The 3 Ps, and, kind of did a couple of math classes or some physics. What piece of advice would you give them if they wanted to follow in your footsteps?
Well, certainly the world has changed a lot since 1978, when I first got into programming, obviously. So my suggestion would be there's going to be tremendous opportunities for developers in development, and it's a good skill set to have. And I think what you want to do is have some variation there. So the first thing is learn SQL. SQL it continues to be the dominant data management language. It looks like that's unlikely to change for a long time to come.
Right.
And it's not that there aren't contenders. It's not even that there might not be better languages than SQL or improvements on SQL. You constantly hear about new SQL and not only SQL, otherwise known as NoSQL. But the core SQL language is holding steady. And I think there's just so much investment in it now that even if something better comes along, it's not going to really grab hold very effectively. And the bottom line is that SQL is an amazingly powerful, intuitive language for humans to work with. So learn SQL. In terms of whether or not you focus in Oracle database, focus in other database, focus in other languages, there's so many out there and there's so many opportunities. Certainly, if you did want to focus in the Oracle space, I think learning SQL's the core thing. Learning PL SQL is certainly advantageous, not as critical as SQL, but as I like to put it, and I guess in the COVID-19 era, it even holds additionally true. To me, PL SQL is like toilet paper. You don't have to use it to use Oracle database, but wow, it makes things a lot easier and better. So,
I'm going to remember that.
So SQL, learn some PL SQL, but the other thing is, especially if you, this is more to people who are in the space already. So they have some Oracle database experience. And maybe they're starting to find it harder to find the next position compared to the way it was 10 or 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Learn Oracle Application Express.
Yes.
So to me, Apex is amazing because I, Steven, who knows only PL SQL and a little bit of SQL, I can build websites that look nice. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. So Apex is a fantastic tool. I think it is one of the key enabling technologies that Oracle has ever produced. And it's really just beginning to hit its stride. So I think we're going to see just steady growth in the Oracle Apex world. And that's where a lot of the SQL PL SQL work will come from. It'll be pulled along with that.
Right. Right.
So I'm not sure if that's an answer for somebody in college. I think the options you have are so widespread and morphing dramatically by this virus and how that will impact human society. I think a lot of things are up in the air right now, but certainly more and more life's going to go virtual, which, by the way, I think is going to be a bad thing generally on multiple levels, but it may be just the way we have to head. So that'll create more software opportunities as well.
And buy the book.
Buy the book.
And for a small fee, I'll sell you a first edition.
So my favorite story of my first editions is I went out to Switzerland, this is years ago, at least 10, 15 years ago, and did a presentation at UBS. It's a large multinational bank. And I think I did a talk on best practices. We probably had a couple of hundred people there. It was great, a lot of fun. And afterwards, a team came up to me and said, Steven, we've been using UTPL SQL, which is the unit test for PL SQL. It's kind of JUnit for PL SQL. I wrote the first version of it in '99. It's now off and it's with its own new team in version 3 and fantastic stuff. Anyway, they said, we want to show you what we've been doing. So they brought me back over to their offices. And it turns out it was an Arthur Anderson team hired by UBS, this multi-year project. And they had one guy working full-time just on building UTPL SQL test packages and maintaining them. So he's showing me the code and I turn around and look off to the side out the windows and it's a beautiful spring day. The windows are open and I notice lodged, wedged into the window that's spread open to keep it open is one of my first edition books. They were embarrassed. I thought it was a perfect use for an old edition of a book. Why not? It certainly is good for wedging open windows. Big wedging.
So have you bought my book yet?
I don't know if I have. No.
Oh. Steven.
That's the sort of question you're supposed to ask offline first. You don't ask the question unless you know the answer.
Okay, there's a whole chapter on code-based access control.
Yes, great. And I've read your blogs about that. You do a good job covering that. Let me make a note. Pretend to buy Rob's book. Okay, got it.
All right. All right. One thing I learned about writing books, you don't do it for the money.
That's right. You definitely don't make that your objective.
Yeah.
And you don't think about how much you make per hour when you're done.
Yeah, because I would cry.
That's right. You do it because you're helping people.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why people write books, to help people.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you're going to do another one?
I am actually, I am thinking about it. I am thinking about it. This did not come out the way I wanted it to. Okay. There was, when I go back and read it, there's several things I would have done different. And it's always worth writing another one.
All right.
All right. Steven, thank you very much. Listen, I hear your puppy probably needs your attention.
Moonbeam really wants to get back inside. She's a person dog. She doesn't like to be stuck outside apart from her people.
Oh, okay. And
That's all right.
And my phone's been ringing off the hook. I guess I better figure out who's trying to call me.
All right. Well, great to talk to you. Thanks for doing these interview series. I think it's a great idea for the community in this time of lockdown and stay at home. So thanks very much for that. All right. Take care.
Mahalo.
Bye.